What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know, guys, we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit the like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. And I fucking appreciate it, brother. Shout out to all the woods. You got your cup of coffee ready, brother. Get the crank out of the crankshaft and crank it up because we're about to get into it, man. Shout out to all the woods, everyone that taps in, man, to Superwood. And you already know, man, this is going to be a good one. Superwood versus white Norteños, right? Can't fucking stand them, brother. Can't live with them. Can't live without them. They're fucking there. Go ice, ice, baby. Vanilla, go. Look, man, when it comes to Roach, he was a lot of things, and there was a lot of things he wasn't. And one of them was he wasn't no punk. He wasn't no sucker. And he really wasn't no racist. He really wasn't into that, man. He liked to project that onto people, swastikas and all that doesn't mean you don't like other people, right? But at the same time, one thing he didn't like was people faking the funk, people that were of his racial ethnicity, brother, choosing to go against the grain. It was just something that was instilled in him, something he didn't like. Now with me, it was different. I'm Chicano, so I guess you get a pass, brother. You get a fucking pass, not a big pass. It's not like a fucking pass to Disneyland where you can go and fucking,
hey, what's up, and be with Mickey Mouse?
It was none of that, brother. It was just a straight up pass. But he didn't like my primo. So I have a primo that they called Vanilla, right? And the reason they called my primo Vanilla was he was as white as they come, but he was a northerner. He was a norteño as much as they came. And that's a true fact. You know, in fact, the first time I was ever aware of any of the norteño cause or anything like that was because of Vanilla. Shout out Vanilla, rest in peace. My primo's passed away, man. And he was as real as it gets. I've done a video on him, the hardest white norteño I ever met. And I met a lot of white norteños. I met Woody. You see him on the thumbnail, man. I did meet Woody. I did kick it with Woody. I chopped game with Woody. And Woody was as solid as they came too, man. And I know there's some straight crazy circumstances when it comes to his death. But rest in peace, the legendary Woody from the Yak Life Got Me Like This from Antioch. I did get a chance to post up and kick it with him. And he was solid. Now, Roach could not stand my primo, but I got to give you a little bit of background. My primo Vanilla, you know, his mother, man, my Aunt Terry, how you doing, right? His mother met my tío at a bar. She was a gangster. She was a bar fighting ass broad, right? You know, the type of white broad that just sits there, downs tequila and beats up paisas? That was her. She was ice before ice was around. And speaking of ice, ice baby, right? That's when Vanilla comes into play. What happens is she met my tío at a bar, man. They beat up a whole bunch of people together and came home with black eyes and never split apart from that moment on. They were together. And I remember, and my tío was a straight up Mexicano. Look, he had an old school whip, looked like fucking Pancho Villa, right? And he brings a straight up white lady home, but she was cool. I remember she spoke more Spanish than I did. It was a trip. I guess it was all the paisas she was fucking with while at the bars. But anyways, she had 3 children. And her 3 kids were from a white man. So previously, before that, she was into construction, right? She was into white guys and good old woods, brother. And she found a Mexicano that could slang him with the best of them. And she fell in love. And she brought her 3 kids. Now, her 3 kids, which became my primos and my prima, they didn't have their father in their life, right? So when my tío married their mom, he adopted these kids and he gave them his last name. So their last name was Reyes. True stories. And my primo Vanilla adapted immediately to the Mexicano lifestyle, the Chicano lifestyle. He liked lowriders. He liked everything else we liked, but he became a norteño and a well-respected one because he would throw them things, right? He was quick to throw them. So he was the one that put me on the game. He was the one that laced me up and showed me in the beginning. Then my tío Joe took over later. But in the immediate, man, it was all about me and him at school. We're youngsters, flamed up, norteño movement, all that. He was trying to tell me, you know, he was giving me my education. He was giving me my clecha. So years pass, and now I'm dealing with the Superwood, brother. And Roach can't stand white norteños, right? So we're kicking back at Roach's house one day, and he's telling stories about prison. And he talks about every time there was a white norteño on the yard, man, he didn't like it. Now, there's been a lot of videos made about Norte and Sur and Woods in California prison system. And the brothers, man, have made a lot of videos too. Now, if you're a white man and you're a Crip or a Blood, you're going to have issues in prison. That's just what it is, right? It's because the Woods feel like you turned their back on them. They feel like you're the opposition, and they make you a target. And so a lot of these white Crips and Bloods, man, they be having to go through some motions, but they be handling their business, man. Shout out to the homeboy, you know what I'm saying? Big whack dudes. And all the Woods that actually fucking, Woods, the white men, brother, excuse me, that actually went into prison, man, and held it down for what they believed in their group, their gang, or whatever. You know, I can't knock them. But I definitely see some situations where the Woods felt some type of way, especially the Skins, and they would get off where they were mad at. Well, Roach was one of them guys, and he's telling all these stories. Yeah, brother, so look, yeah, oh, no, don't mind. Yeah, that's crank breath. I know it stinks, but that's a fucking 3-day run right there, brother. Smell that. Right? He was crazy sometimes. But he's telling us the story about there was a white norteño that didn't like Woods, man, and every time he hit the yard, he would get off. And I called bullshit. And the reason I called bullshit, I've been to prison plenty of times to understand that no one's going to take it upon themselves to just go fucking rush people and get out. That's not the way it works, especially on a level 4 or level 3 yard in the California system. Now, there have been white guys that were norteños, like Little Man from Turlock and others, man, that definitely were with the business in the program, and they did not like anyone who were on the opposition or posed a threat. But even then, man, they're not going to get off on the Woods or the Skins or any other group without say-so, without a blessing, without a green light or anything like that, because if they did and they caused chaos or they caused disruption on that California prison yard, they're going to get fucking whacked. That's just the truth of it, right? So when Roach is telling me them stories, he's like, no, brother, you don't understand. So I was in the oil, right? This is how it fucking went down. What you gonna do, brother? He's like, and there was this one white norteño that came in and he used to run his fucking jibs. I'm like, his jibs? What is that? Oh, no, brother, it's not a fishing lure. He used to run his fucking net, right? And so they got into it. They had conflict on the tier, which, again, I called mierda. I called bullshit, cow shit, because I've never seen people in the California prison system really woof on each other in the hole. It's not like that. It's all professional. It's all business, you know. But according to Roach, and this is his story, I let him tell it, this is what was going on. So that this guy ran his neck to the point where Roach was like, I'm stabbing that norteño, right? And he says he went to the yard and the Wood that was in charge, the llavero, the shot caller, the key holder, got at the norteños and expressed to them that white norteño, when he was in the hole, man, was running his neck to the Woods, and they were feeling some type of way. Well, of course, the norteños got off on all the Woods immediately. Anytime a group comes and says, and they're the opposition anyways, and they're like, hey, we got a problem, everyone got a fucking problem. That part of the story sounded true, not because the norteños got off, because I know the way it is, man. That's the same thing if you go up to a Southsider like, hey, we got a problem with your homie. Who you think they're going to back up? Their homie, right? Blacks are going to do it. Woods are going to do it, brother. Everyone's going to do it, right? I don't know about the GBGs. They might not do it. They might do something else, but it is what it is. So anyways, Roach says that the norteños got off, man, but he targeted this fucking white norteño and he got off on him. He smashed him pretty good. Now, whether that's a true story or not, I don't know. But that leads me into this story. So he's telling me this, and I'm like, nah. He said, you're just fucking denying the fact that the Woods be handling you motherfuckers, right? And I'm like, nah, not necessarily. I mean, it goes back and forth. Winner, chicken dinner for everybody. But calm down, Roach. Your fucking high blood pressure is going to pop the fucking crank that's coming out of your mouth, crank breath, right? So we got into a lightweight argument, and I said, you know what? Fuck this dude. I'm gone. So I left. I didn't talk to him for a couple months. So he calls me. He's like, hey, brother, let's let bygones be bygones. It's not my fault you're a norteño. And I give you the benefit of the doubt because as a Wood man, you know we were fucking you guys. Isn't this what we argued over in the first place? Like, why are you're supposed to call and apologize and be like, hey, brother, it's all good, man. Don't even trip, man. That's that bullshit in prison. We're not going prison politics with it. We're going meth politics, right? He could have did that. But instead, he kept the argument going. Yeah, brother, yeah. It's like, so you want to come by the house for barbecuing? No white norteños. Right? So I pull up to his house, and okay, there was a white norteño named TJ from Merced. Now, I went to school with this dude when I was very young. I hadn't seen him for years. And one day I'm cruising, and there was another Vato, rest in peace, named Captain. Captain was from a gang called RBLs, man. And I grew up with him as well in an area called Beechwood. That was my boy, right? And he ended up becoming from RBLs, Rebels Before Locals, and they were like our enemies from Dead End. Dead End and RBLs didn't see eye to eye. Nowadays, they're all together. All norteños function as one. But back then, they functioned with Lofbro, which was the north side against the west. So it's basically like M Street, Dead End, all these vaudeville's in the West against the vaudeville's in the North Side, La Grande, Planada, or they had a gang of gente, right? But we did our thing. So, anyways, I see this vaudeville captain and TJ cruising. Now, me and Captain had always been cool. It didn't matter what gang we were from, even though he was the opposition. We were cool. And about that time, Norteños stopped doing the red on red, so there wasn't really too much conflict. It still was happening, and it even still happens to this day, but it wasn't. So we're chilling in front of fucking Roach's pad, and these dudes cruise by, two white-ass Norteños, right? And Roach says, who are them fucking white men trying to act SA, right? And I said, no, they're NA. SA, fucking, I don't go to meetings, I do dope, right? So I'm like, listen, that's the homie. So I'm like, Captain, he's chilling. I said, what's up, bro? And I recognize him. Of course, it's my boy, but I don't recognize the dude with him. He's like, this is TJ. And I'm like, oh, shit, we went to school together back in the days. Still doing your thing, homie. That's right. And I was still active at the time. And Roach is like, well, listen here, brother. Who the fuck are them white men over there? I could hear him running his jibs, right? How the white man says the jibs. That's three things white men say: honey mustard, jibs, and Salisbury steak. And not necessarily in that order, brother. Sprinkle in a little bit of cranking coffee. What do you got? M&M. And so anyways, we're chilling and I'm chopping it up with them. And they're like, hey, can we get off the car? And I'm like, I don't know, bro. You know, this is the Wood house. And they're like, man, we don't give a fuck about none of that. Right? Because one thing about the Norteños, always we've been indoctrinated, or we were indoctrinated, to not give a fuck about anyone else. Yeah, I mean, you watch your element and where you're at, but not to really trip like that. Whatever, if you want to get off and get jumped on by the Wood, brother. So it's just Roach and his Dwarf Wood there and myself, right? Ricky was there earlier. I dropped him back off. So we're just chilling. If Ricky was there, believe me, he would have boxed with Roach. I already know. He would have took the fade for the homies. So they're off right here, and Roach is like trying to be hospitable, but doesn't really want him there. And he's flashing back. You could tell because Roach, one thing about him, he was like fucking Smokey in the pigeon coop. He start fucking twitching and shit when his wood meter went above fucking too dark. Then it would be like, oh brother, I'm fucking malfunctioning. That brother got pigmentation. He got pigmentation, right? He would trip. You know, the fakest racial shit came out of him. So we're kicking it. He's like, hey, you guys want a core light, brother? And they're like, hey, you guys, you ain't got no modelos. And he's like, that's it. That's fucking enough. I allowed your white asses to be right here in my fucking in my yard, and don't mind the lawnmowers. We're working on them. Ain't that right, Dwarf Wood? Dwarf Wood was like, yeah, motherfuckers, we're working on them, right? I'm like, here we go, right? So now it's an old Mexican standoff or an old Wood standoff. Woods first, brother. Woods first. You got two white Norteños over here. I'm very light-skinned, so I could pass for whatever, right? You got a fucking midget Wood and a sucked-up, spaced-out Wood fucking doing the fit of combustion. And he's like, brother, you know, why'd you guys turn your back on the white man? And they're like, what do you mean? We are white, homie. He's like, no, but keep fucking white out your mouth. Keep it out your jibs. Keep it out your dick suckers. Keep it out your bumping baking soda breath lobbies. Look it, brother. You guys could have went good old Wood like us, right? Dwarf Wood's kicking Dwarf. Dwarf's like, yeah, oh shit, that hurt, right? I'm like, look, bro, these are homies. They've been homies for the longest time. Norteños don't see color. But white men do. And I'm going to tell you right now, brother, these motherfuckers right here, they're like, hey, the homie captain's like, hey, I ain't going to be no motherfucker, homie. This is rebels before Lokes. I'm like, oh, wait up. I'm a Loke. Like, it's going to be some chaos right here. And TJ's being very quiet. Now, I remember him back in school. He was what you would call a bully with a fully. One of them guys that went extra hard because he was a white Norteño, so he felt like he had to prove himself. He was a motherfucking vicious character with hands. I remember that. He had hands. But we were all young way back then. I mean, real little kids. This before I went to YA for murder and all that. So I don't know. You grow up. Some people lose hands. Some people gain hands. I don't know. I'm not really tripping, but he's being very quiet. And Captain's telling fucking Roach, like, hey, man, hey, we're not here to be disrespected. We're just trying to kick it with the homie. And he's like, well, your fucking Mexican partner, all you motherfuckers can get out. Because this is a white man's front yard and it's private property. And you're trespassing. He's going crazy. And I'm like, calm down, Karen. Calm down, fucking Tom, or whatever your name is, right? And Roach is like, listen, brother, it's not that I have anything against you guys, because you guys, I mean, you look white. But the thing is, why'd you turn your back on your peoples? So Captain's like, hey, I grew up with Mexicanos, bro. I grew up with homies. That's just the way it is, man. It's not about color to me, man. I'm good with everyone, but I am white, though. My parents are white. I said, a bunch of fucking Norwegians I'm around, right? And TJ finally says something. He's like, what's your problem, bro? Are you mad because the homies were smashing you guys in prison? Now, One thing you can say to Roach is you can be real with Roach. You can even clown just a little bit, but you can't talk down on the white man in front of a real wood. And it was about to be chaos, right? And chaos ensued. So when TJ says that, Roach turns around and he's like, and who the fuck do you think you are, brother? Now, when he says brother, he doesn't say brother like, hey, brother, what's happening, right? Or what's up, bro? He says brother. And when he says brother with the hard ER, it's just like saying the N-word with the hard ER. You know there's about to be fucking troubles. So TJ said, look, I don't give a fuck about none of that, Holmes. This is North Daniels right here. And swung. Okay? His balls will never be the same because Dwarfwood leaned back. I don't even know if he noticed Dwarfwood was right there. He said, fuck you, Nortes. Boom. Hit that fool in the balls. I have what they call reflex. I kicked fucking Dwarfwood so hard in his head. Boom. Norte. Right? That motherfucker went tumbling. Roach was like, well, I'll take all you Norteños on mistake. Captain picked him up, bear hugged him, and gave him the white man bear hug and slammed him on his head. And I'm not going to even lie, right? I threw a kick or two in. Fuck it, right? Norte. We were jumping up on the white man, but the white man wasn't going to go out like that, brother. His mom came out. Ah, you Mexicans and white Mexicans, get off my lawn, right? I'm surprised she didn't just start bucking because Karen was really with that business. So we all took off. So Roach just called me, I'm going to fucking kill you, brother. You kicked me. You kicked Dwarfwood. I can't believe you kicked Dwarfwood. Did you? Was it funny? I didn't even notice. I was too busy in the bear hug. Was it funny? I said, it was funny. Well, fuck you guys and all you fucking, I hate white Norteños, and you're one of them now, brother, because you're light-skinned. So I didn't talk to Roach for about 3 months. And I started to hang around with Captain a little bit more, man. We used to reminisce on when we grew up and everything. That was really my taita, man, growing up. Good, solid dude, man. I can't believe he passed. And we were with the homeboy named Oso from NFL gang. He was another dude. He looked white. He wasn't white, but he looked it, right? And Money. Excuse me, Money. And we're kicking it with them. And Roach cruises by in a beater ass station wagon with like 4 fucking skinheads in it and pulled up on us. I said, what now, Wood? Now it's fucking even. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's 7 white men and 1 Mexican, right? I was like, oh, shit. And I'm looking at the homeboy like, aren't you Mexican too? Let me tell you right now, them Woods got with our motherfucking program. Wasn't no bear hugs happening this time. It was in the direct opposite, right? Pardon me, would you take some of this grilled poop on your head? Boom. And they were slamming us. And me and Roach, we were enemies for a minute. We didn't get along because of that, man. The homeboys, they really wanted him. And then I ended up calling Roach one time, man. I was doing bad and I needed a plug. And I was like, fuck it, man. I'm going to call him. And he had forgot all about it. Hey, what's up, brother? You act like you don't know a white man no more. Yeah, it's a white man's world. Remember, you're in it. I was like, yeah, what's up, bro? And, from that point on, man, we were cool. We let bygones be bygones. But I'll tell you this right now, man. This dude had an affinity for white Norteños. He just didn't like them. And I could understand the situation. That's like me seeing a Mexican crip or a Mexican blood. I don't mind it. I don't hate on no one. Be from wherever you're from. You're a victim of circumstances or a fucking you're entitled to your environment and being what you are. But I do question, I think everyone does, like, how the fuck did that homie become a crip and shit? That fool was, I remember back in the days. And that leads me to this. You know, I've seen people switch up. I remember when I was in the youth authority, man, this one guy, he was a northerner. I remember him as a Norteño on the streets. Bam, we had a picture together by a lowrider bike, red rags, all that. And I go to YA, man, and he turns fucking Southsider from A-Town on us. They ain't never even lived in Atwater. All of a sudden, this Vato's from Atwater, fucking. And I put him on blast, man. I put him on blast. And this Vato who was calling Cuetes there in YA, he was like the one, he was from San Diego. I showed him the picture and everything. Like, look, fool, this was a Norteño. They beat him from the feet up. It was all bad, right? He ended up getting rolled up out of there. That's the true story. So I can understand people feeling a certain way about people switching up, but I never got it. You know, to me, it doesn't matter what color you are. You can be whatever you want to be. But Roachwood, he didn't like it, brother. There ain't no fucking way on God's green earth, and yes, God's white, he's a white man, that white people are going to run around saying, what's up, SA? What's up, SA? We just don't care for it. I'm like, yeah, what about the fact that you're with a black woman and have 3 black kids? But they don't say SA. They say, hey, what's up, brother? But not with the hard ER. Anyways, with that being said, man, that's my story today, man. Roach is no joke. You know, he definitely had hands, but he met up with white Northerners that had more hands. And tit for tat, tat for tit, man. You don't really see too many white Norteños in the Merced area where I'm from in the Central Valley, but there are some. more when you go towards more Northern California, like Shasta, Cocoa County, all that, you'll run into some white Northerners. I always had a lot of respect for them, man, because I know the hardships they go through and they're real as they get. With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoy this Superwood, brother. Get your coffee. It should be empty. Put another shot in it, brother. Can I get a shot? Can I get one for Marcelli, too? You don't know how many times the white man asked me that. This is the gun.